You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron, live with Athan Hristodulu.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Greeks Gridiron. I am Athan Hristodulu. It is December 2nd, 2021. We're getting set for Week 13 of the NFL with tonight's Thursday night football game going on between the Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints. Then we got a whole slate of games on Sunday and a Monday night one as well. So, without further ado, as always, make sure you like the video if you enjoy what we're doing here. Hit that sub button. We're at 189, getting real close to 200. Help push me there. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, let's make some picks and go over who I think is going to win in this week's matchups. The very first one that we have here, and before we get into that, actually, just make a note. Records up here at the top left of your screen. If you are looking there, I'm currently 101-77. So, predictions have been going somewhat well. I feel like the only weeks I do bad is when there are a ton of uncalled upsets. But, I mean, I've had some pretty good weeks picking. I've only had, I think, one real bad one where I went 6-10 the first week. And after that, done pretty well so far. Not quite where I was hoping my record would be. I was hoping for maybe about like 10, 15 more correct predictions than I have currently. But we're looking pretty good so far. Now, starting with this first game that we have tonight, we'll get into this Dallas Cowboys at the New Orleans Saints. So Taysom Hill is going to be starting at quarterback. This is a game where you have a team that is dealing with an injury at probably the biggest and most important offensive position in the quarterback. They're also, and they have been all year, but it is of note, Michael Thomas is obviously not playing. They do have their running back tandem, so there is that. But Taysom Hill starting at quarterback is going to be interesting because it's going to limit the way they use him in their offense as a gadget player. I don't really know if the Saints can overcome the loss of Jameis Winston. I think one thing that we're learning with this Saints team is just how good Jameis Winston was for the offensive system. Despite him having some crazy turnovers, that's kind of like his MO. He was looking pretty solid as the quarterback of the Saints, and I think that in hindsight now, people are starting to notice that, but since the loss of Jameis Winston, they started 5-2 with him, and they've lost 4 games without him. I mean, it's kind of, it is what it is. Trevor Siemian, obviously not the answer. I do like the Cowboys, even though they are away in this one, so I am going to go ahead and pick the Cowboys. They are, I believe, at this point, if I look at the betting odds here, they're like -6-point favorites, so I would go with the Cowboys. I like them. They're a good pick on this one. I know they've been dealing with wide receiver issues, a lot of injuries there, but overall, I think as an entire unit, I like the Cowboys better than I do the Saints going into this one, despite it being a road game for the Cowboys. Now, looking at games number 2 through 13, because I believe there's 14 games this week, all on Sunday. We'll start with those 1 o'clock games. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. So we'll talk a little bit about these guys. This is more of a shoe-in for the Buccaneers. I almost said the Cowboys there. The Buccaneers, this would be a really disappointing game for them to lose. The Bucs were able to kind of knock off a little bit of the uneasiness that had been surrounding the team with a couple of losses that were more surprises than anything else for Tampa Bay, beating the Colts, big comeback win at that, Tom Brady special. Really like what the Bucs were able to do last week against the Colts, so we'll keep that in mind. The Falcons have been kind of fumbling around as a team that has been just around the 500 mark. Some people at points were arguing, they're a playoff team. Other people don't believe so. I don't think at this point in the game they are a playoff contender. Ultimately, I don't think their defense is going to be able to handle the number 1 scoring offense. They are the 31st ranked scoring allowed defense. So the Falcons just have really, they don't have anything to lose per se, other than their playoff chances. But the Bucs, I think, have more to lose in this one. Yes, again, it's a road game for them, but I do like the Bucs going here against the Falcons. Now, next up, we're looking at a Cardinals-Bears one. Again, another kind of shoe-in type game. The Cardinals should not be losing this game, whether Colt McCoy is the starter or if it's Kyler Murray. At this point, the Arizona Cardinals are 2-1 with Colt McCoy as the leader of the offense. And then obviously the rest of their games won 7 with Kyler Murray as a starter. Only 1 loss to that Packers team that was missing all their starting wide receivers that ended literally in the end zone. The Cardinals, in my opinion, are the perennial number 1 team in the league. I think they have shown that week in and week out, despite adversity at some of the most important positions on the offensive side of the football. Running back number 1's gone, wide receiver 1's gone, quarterback 1's gone. I mean, you name it, they've dealt with it. So I want to give the Cardinals a lot of credit so far this season, and I think that this is a game where, the Bears have really struggled in just about everything besides pass defense. It's the only really good statistical category they rank in defensively. But ultimately, the Cardinals, they're 9-2 for a reason. They are a battle-tested team. They are a really good team, and they've been winning regardless of who's the quarterback for the team. I'm going to go ahead and take the Cardinals on here. Next up on the list, we're looking at the LA Chargers and the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a game where it's a really tight one, and I'm actually going to pull up the betting odds for this one just because I'm pretty curious here. I have them all up on my phone as I go through and kind of talk with you guys on this one. So this is a tightly knit one. I kind of expected that. I don't really follow the betting stuff, but I feel like it does give you kind of a good idea as to who's looking at who for the favorites and whatnot. I do like the Bengals going into this game. I think that they have some really impressive blowout wins against some tough divisional opponents. The Ravens won especially. The Steelers won last week. While I don't think anyone expected that to happen, in hindsight, not as surprising considering just how much the offense has struggled in Pittsburgh and how good the Bengals have been defensively. Now, the biggest thing that I think we need to kind of circle here and look at while we discuss this game is the Bengals pass defense is ranked 25th in the league, whereas the Chargers passing offense is 6th ranked in the league. So that is going to be an issue. The one thing that, when you look at what the Bengals have done overall, just where their shortcomings have come, it's been defending the pass ultimately. While, I don't want to discredit the Chargers and what they do offensively. Their passing offense is great, but I think that the Bengals overall, they're able to stuff the run, and the Chargers aren't a great running team. The run defense is really good. They're 5th best in the league there. So while the pass defense isn't great, it is a glaring hole against the Chargers unit that can throw the ball. They're really good at stopping the run and being physical defensively. Trey Hendrickson has been an outstanding pickup for this team. I do like the Bengals in this one here. 6th best scoring offense in the league compared to the Chargers, who are allowing the 29th worst at 26.6 a game. The Bengals offense should be able to take advantage of this weakness in the defense, and especially that 32nd ranked run D, which is miles ahead of 31st. The Bengals have a recipe for success here and on a roadmap, and it's just to run the football down their throat. Joe Burrow makes good throws. You should come out the winners in this one as the Bengals. Next up, we're looking at the Vikings and the Detroit Lions. I have tried to call the Lions twice now on their first wins of the season, and both times they were literally this close, and they were in games that they probably should have won when the Steelers didn't have Ben Roethlisberger, and then just this past Thanksgiving when they blew that game to the Bears that, again, they should have won. They jumped out to a real early lead. They were, they looked great, and then from there, it just kind of it fell apart. When the Lions scored that first drive last week, I was like, yes, this is going to be the week for them. They should be able to pound the Bears into oblivion. I don't know what the answer is for the Lions. They're 0-10-1 at this point. But I would be ridiculous to bet against I think I picked the Lions actually the last time they played the Vikings too to win the game. I'm not going to make that same mistake this time around. I'm going to go with the Vikings here. It is in Detroit. I don't think it really matters. There are a lot of problems in Detroit, and I really think that the Vikings are another shoe-in type of winner here. They should be winning this game, and I would be shocked to see the Lions get their first win against a Vikings team that can put up a lot of points. And considering the Lions can't really score, they're ranked 30th in the league at 15.8 points a game, and they're ranked 27th in the league in points allowed at 26.3. I would be shocked to see the Lions come out victors in that one. Next up, we are looking at the Giants and the Dolphins. This is a really interesting game because I don't really know if anyone can call it, a sure victory for either team. The Dolphins have been surging. The Giants, they randomly win games against teams you wouldn't expect them to, a la the Raiders a few weeks ago, and then ultimately just this past week when they beat the Eagles, I really thought the Eagles are going to roll them over. So, Giants are 4-7, Dolphins are 5-7, but the Dolphins are on a hot streak. Tua is looking pretty good since coming back from his injury. Has been playing really well, throwing well, being very accurate, which is the really big thing here. I believe he's ranked 4th or 2nd or something like that. He's got 70% completion percentage so far. And I mean, he's looking really good since coming back from that injury. This Dolphins team is surging. Jalen Waddle has been really stepping up and making some big plays. You can't forget about the rookie. He's looked like an excellent first-round pick for this team. The type of explosiveness this offense has been missing, Jalen Waddle is that guy. Ultimately, though, when it boils down to and things that I'm looking at the most, the teams are pretty much comparable statistically. When I'm looking at everything, they're not really too far apart from each other in any actual category. The run defense, I think it'll be a problem for the Giants. The Dolphins' run D is ranked 10th in the league at 104.9 yards a game, which is fairly good. But, I mean, ultimately, no team is really a threat offensively or defensively. The pass defense isn't great on the Dolphins. And then when you look at the Giants, it's like the pass defense is fine, 17th, but the run defense, not great, 26th in the league. I don't know. This is a toss-up game. My gut tells me, though, I'm going to ride the hot streak, and it's in Miami, and teams tend to struggle playing in Miami for whatever reason, whether it's the humidity or whatnot. I'm going to take the Dolphins on this one. I like them at home. And again, this is a tightly knit contest on this one. I like the Dolphins. Next up, we're looking at Philadelphia and the New York Giants. This is a game the Eagles should be winning. They lost last week in a pretty surprise loss, in my opinion. They were not able to really get anything going through the air, and for some reason, it felt like they kind of abandoned the run game that's been so successful for them the last few weeks. They need to run the football down the Jets' throats in this game. The Jets' run defense has been abysmal. Let me just adjust this a little bit here because it's cutting off some of my numbers, and I can't see what some of these rankings are. There we go. They are 27th in the league. Again, the Jets are 27th in the league on run defense and yards per game allowed, 128.7. The Eagles are the number one running offense in the league at 157.9 yards a game. Run the damn football down the Jets' throats. Do not give them the time of day. There is no reason the Jets should be winning this game. The Eagles should be able to capitalize on what has been a soft run D and a pass D that hasn't been great either. The Eagles have not been great through the air, so this is a really good team to, take advantage of. Their weakness is your strength, and then on top of that, your weakness is also their weakness. Eagles win this one, in my opinion. Next up, we're looking at the Colts and the Texans. Division rival matchup. The Colts' playoff hopes are pretty much on the line going into this one here. They have a lot more to lose than the Texans, who at this point are sitting at 2-9. The Texans do have a couple of wins, but ultimately have not really been able to be successful in just about any facet of the game. The only thing that they have done pretty well, and they're like middle of the pack with it, pass defense somewhat impressive from a Houston Texans team that is literally just a bunch of no-names and tryout players, it feels like at this point, and random guys just making plays here or there through the air. But other than that, I mean, the Texans are ranked pretty much the bottom of the barrel in everything. Points a game is 32. Pass yards a game is 31. Rush yards a game is 32. I'm just looking at all the numbers I have listed on the screen here. And I mean, everything is pretty much bottom of the barrel when you look at these numbers. Colts should win this game. It is in Houston. I know Houston has given them problems in the past, so I do not count the Texans out, but I do think the Colts are supposed to win this game. And as for the betting line on this one, just because I'm curious to see what it is, because people tend to not understand. So the Colts are a negative 10 point favorite going into this one. I don't know if I would even take that. That's how much I know the Texans give the Colts problems. I would be shocked if it's a 10-point win by the Indianapolis, but I also wouldn't be. This is a game where I think it'll be tight, or maybe the Colts end up blowing out the Texans. I would hope that they blow out the Texans because they should, but knowing Houston, I could see this one coming down to like 3 or 6 points, maybe even just a touchdown. I would not be shocked to see the Texans give the Colts a problem. They seem to always come prepared to play Indianapolis. Next up, we are looking at, on game number 9, the Washington football team in Las Vegas taking on the Raiders. This is a really close one here. You have the Washington football team that's 5-6. You have the Raiders that are 6-5. Washington has rattled off some pretty impressive wins against a couple of good teams. The defense has not been great through the air, and they have not had the pass rush that anyone was expecting this year. I was so high on them coming into this season, and those hopes and aspirations are long gone at this point. The run defense, though, has been really, really good. They are surprisingly the 4th best run D in the league, allowing only 92.6 yards a game. I did not even realize that until I was prepping this show for this week, how good their run defense has come the last few weeks. Now, when you look at what the Raiders do on offense, they're not the biggest running team. Their statistics and everything, their numbers come through the air. They are the 2nd best passing offense in the league, averaging about 296.5 yards a game. Meanwhile, when you look at the Washington's pass defense, it is actually ranked 30th in the league. They're allowing a lot of yards per game. So with that in mind, just the fact that the Raiders get their stuff done through the air and they are a very pass-heavy team, I am going to pick the Raiders in this one. They're at home in Las Vegas as well, so it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about the pick. I do like the Raiders at home. Next up, we are looking at the Jaguars and the LA Rams in LA. Again, another game that should be kind of a shoe-in type pick. The Rams, they're struggling right now, 3-game losing streak. This is a bounce-back game for them, and they need to take advantage of it. This is a type of game where you're a playoff contender, and you need to kind of rebound. As for Jacksonville, you're 2-9. At this point, it would make more sense for the Jaguars to just lose out the rest of the year and, get the best pick possible. I understand it's football. It's competitive. You don't want to do that. But at the same time, for the future of this team, they need the best picks possible that they can get and bring in the best players possible. Meanwhile, the Rams, they got to win this game. They need to use this to kind of find some momentum. They've lost. They have not won a game since they brought in Von Miller and Odell Beckham, and those are like the two big pieces to really push them over the hump, and yet they're sitting on a 3-game losing streak. So LA needs to win this game. I expect them to. It's in LA. Rams win, I think, by a pretty significant score. I would give it a 14-point differential probably, but Rams. But it could be a little bit closer than that if the Jaguars surprise randomly. But I do expect the Rams to win, and I expect them to win handedly. Next up, we are looking at Baltimore at Pittsburgh, and this is actually one I don't have a winner picked up on my little script here that I have on the screen. This is a tough one. The Baltimore-Pittsburgh games are always highly competitive, no matter how good or bad either of the teams are in that season. The Steelers have a lot more on the line here than the Ravens do. Although the Ravens do have the number 1 spot in the AFC North right now, a loss here would put them into a tie with the Bengals, who do have the tiebreaker at this current moment with their blowout win over the Ravens. So Steelers have a lot to lose in playoff hopes. They need a win in this game. The Ravens essentially just need the win to keep their first place position in the AFC North. I expect this game to be good. Expect the Steelers to try to take advantage of that 32nd ranked pass D. The Ravens, a lot of people, when you look at like that Bengals game that they played, and this is more of a hindsight thing, not something you would have maybe realized in the moment, or unless you really looked at it, maybe realized in the moment. The Ravens got completely demolished by the Bengals the last time they played, and you wonder why. When you look at their 32nd ranked pass D, it starts to make sense because the Bengals are so successful through the air. They were able to take advantage of that. That's something I think the Steelers need to look at here if they want to get a victory. But as for me actually picking a winner in this one, the Steelers' defense was really good to start the season. It has slowly started to kind of cool down a little bit as we've progressed through the year. I don't know if it's maybe the struggles on offense are really starting to hurt the defense, plus injuries, things like that, whatever it may be. But this Ravens defense has looked really good. They were able to hold the Browns to 10 points last week and overcome 4 turnovers by the Ravens offense to keep them in the W column. I think I'm going to go Ravens with this one. I'm a little more comfortable picking the Ravens. While I could see the Steelers shocking a win in here, I'm sure that Pittsburgh's probably going to go after their pass D. They're probably going to throw the ball a lot more than focusing on the run. They haven't been a great run offense. The Ravens have the second best run defense in the league. You don't want to try to run into that stone wall. So you might as well, hope that Ben Roethlisberger can have a good game and take advantage of a really weak and injured secondary. But I do think Baltimore takes this one here. And just because I'm curious of what the betting line is for this one here, I will go ahead and pull it up and we'll kind of talk about the betting line just to see, because I'm really curious what they have here. So it's a -4.5 for Baltimore. I would take that. I think that that's something that I could see the Ravens maybe winning by like 7. There is potential it could come down to like a 3-point game, a 2-point game, a 1-point game, like a last-second score for the W. I could see that as well. But I think, Ravens -4.5, that's a safe bet there. Next up, we're looking at the 49ers and I almost said the San Francisco Seahawks, the Seattle Seahawks, no disrespect to Seattle fans. We have a team that's 6-5 in the 49ers, who have been kind of like middle of the road team. They're somewhere in that like mid-teens to lower teens. In my power rankings just this past week, I think they were ranked 15th or something like that. They're working their way into the playoff picture. They are in the playoff picture already, but they're working their way up into maybe even a higher slot depending on where those Rams start to slip and fall. this is a game that the NFC West is a weird division because no matter what any of the teams' records are, this is like they're probably the most competitive division in my opinion because no matter the records, they always come to play each other, and the lesser team wins. I feel more often than you would expect the lesser team to. I think of like when the Seahawks were dominating and the Rams would just constantly be beating them no matter what, when they were kind of the leaders of the division for a little bit there. I also think of like when San Francisco was doing really well, Seattle seemed to be a thorn in their side and vice versa. It just seems like the teams that you don't expect to win this game end up winning this one. Now, with all that said, the Seahawks, they have a lot of problems. Offensively, they are not what they used to be. They just brought in Adrian Peterson as a running back since Chris Carson is going to be done for the year. I don't know what's going on in Seattle. I'm not an insider there, but I will say this. I am concerned for the Seahawks. It's starting to seem more and more like a possibility that Russ Wilson is not going to be there next year. I think I'm going to take the 49ers more so because, one, the defense is starting to catch some steam. The offense, while it is not great, is still playing fairly well and riding on a strong defense. And there's a lot more what seems like dysfunction going on in Seattle right now. I'll take the 49ers here. Even though it's in Seattle, I think San Francisco gets the W. Game 13, this is the Sunday Night Football one. We got the Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Broncos are 6-5 with a boatload of upset wins in their books. And then you have yourselves the Chiefs sitting at 7-4, fighting for the number 1 spot in the AFC West. Here's the deal. This one is, I think, anyone wins. I don't think there's a sure victor here. Broncos have one of the best defenses in the league. They have proven that against some pretty good offenses. At first, the early part of the year, it was, they haven't played anyone, but even the people they have played that have been really good, that they've lost to, they've played them well, and they've beaten some pretty good teams. Remember the Cowboys and what they did to that offense there. The Chiefs, they're kind of surging right now at a really good time because you're getting set for that deep playoff push. Although I don't know if I'm 100% sold on the offense being back. I think that they're about to run into a really good defense, and we're going to really get a good test of just where this Kansas City Chiefs offense actually is. I don't have a winner picked for this one here. Like I said, I have a bunch of notes here on the side of my screen, but I have winners and losers picked for certain games, but there are games where I'm just kind of undecided, and I'm picking here in the moment as I'm speaking to you guys. I really don't know with this one. It's in Kansas City, and usually if you're unsure about things, go with the home team. So I think I am going to go with Kansas City, not because I really think that there's any clear favorite in this one here. I'm actually, again, curious what the betting line is, so we'll take a quick look at that one too and just kind of see what Vegas is thinking here. So Chiefs are a heavy favorite in the game. They're actually a -9.5 favorite. That's kind of surprising to me, just with the fact of like some of the wins the Broncos have and just how good that defense can be. I don't know if I would take that -9.5. That's a pretty crazy line in my opinion. I think that this game could come down to a very close one or ultimately Denver winning. So I am going to pick the Chiefs. I do think they come out the victor here. It is at home, so I like that for Kansas City. Although, do not be surprised if Denver picks up an upset win in this one. I would not be. This is like a very hard to pick one in my opinion. Last game up on the list, and the Monday night game. We have Pats at Bills in Buffalo. This is a big test here. This is for the AFC East. Pats are in first place because they're 8-4. They have not had their bye yet. Meanwhile, the Bills have already. Bills sitting at 7-4. Bills rank very highly in a lot of statistical categories, but they've also dropped some pretty wild games. The Jaguars one sticks with me the most. They lost to the Steelers early on in week 1. There is a recipe to stop the Bills defensively. If anyone can figure it out, it is going to be Bill Belichick. I could see there, and the Patriots defense is surging right now. You want to talk about the least points allowed in the entire league. First place, 15.8 a game. The Patriots defense has been looking really, really good as of late. Turnover machine. They're allowing just about 200 yards a game through the air, which is third best in the league. There is a lot to like about what this Patriots defense is doing and how efficient the offense is playing. They're not like the biggest and sexiest big play unit, but 28 points a game is what the team is averaging. That's obviously combined between what the defense is doing and all that kind of stuff. But 28 points a game for the Patriots. They're middle of the pack yardage-wise for passing and rushing. In Buffalo, cold weather. I like the Patriots. Could the Bills win this game? Most definitely. They could have one of those games where they drop 30 and they allow only 7. It's totally possible that that could happen in Buffalo. However, Bill Belichick, I have a hard time betting against him. I have a strong belief in this Patriots team. I don't have a winner picked on this one either. I'm just kind of picking this one off the top. For my Monday night game, winner for the AFC, or not winner, excuse me, just leader of the AFC East coming out of this one, I think the Patriots are going to pull it out. I have a feeling it's the Pats. I like New England in this. Give me the Patriots taking a big W on Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills. That is my NFL picks for the week. Love to know who you guys think is going to win in the comment section down below. Again, if you enjoy what we're doing, like the video, comment, discuss down below, subscribe to the channel. We're getting close to 200. I got more content for you guys coming your way. This is going to be kind of how my new schedule works. I think I'm going to start doing Power Rankings Tuesdays, NFL picks on Thursdays, and that allows for like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday to be kind of my, like, I can post whatever it is I feel like posting about, along with like new stuff and big important things sprinkled in here and there, shorter, like formatted, 5 to 8 minute video type things where I discuss just big things going on in the league. But I think that's how my schedule is going to start going from now on. So I will see you guys at the latest for a Power Rankings video next Tuesday, but it'll probably be a lot sooner than that within the next few days. So I'll catch you guys then. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.